This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you in part by Xero. Xero is a powerful cloud accounting software that improves efficiencies across your practice. With all client data stored on a single unified ledger, you and your clients can easily access and collaborate on the same set of books. Xero's advisor tools and automation solutions reduce time-consuming manual tasks and put data entry on autopilot. Work faster and more efficiently than ever before with Xero. Visit xero.com/accounting insiders to learn more. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary DeHart. I'm the host of the Accounting Insiders podcast, publisher of Insightful Accountant. And today is March the 27th, 2025. My guest is Joe Woodard of the Woodard Group?
Just Woodard these days. Woodard registered trademark. I've been able to trademark my last name. That took 5 years.
Joe Woodard of Woodard TM. So there we go.
There you go.
So this is just a part of a series of talks I'm doing on just events in the space, and yours is one that, just short background. Joe and I were business partners on Insightful Accountant, 2013 through 2018, I believe it was. And the reason we even went into that partnership was I was the associate publisher of Accounting Today at the time, and had attended, all the different trade shows in this space, and Scaling New Heights being one of them. And what I noticed at that show, and I can't remember if I went to the second one or the third one. It was Stone Mountain was the first one I went to.
That was the second one.
Second one. All right. So I've been to all of them except the first one. And what I noticed there was just the engagement of the attendees with the sponsors. And then Joe and I ended up on a flight together back from I don't know if
probably
it was
something in Vegas. I'm sure
California
it was
or Vegas. I can't remember. and then relationship struck up, and then a business relationship struck up. So that's our short and brief history.
And a lot of PF Chang's in between, yes.
And a lot of PF Chang's and some what's the Cracker Barrel as well.
Cracker Barrel,
So yes. So we're on somewhat limited time. So what I wanted to do is just ultimately talk about Scaling New Heights this year, 2025 in Orlando. But before we do that, just give us like your 2-minute bio, if you can.
Yeah. So I started out in accountancy at a CPA firm in New Orleans, Louisiana, and studying at the University of New Orleans, studying accounting at the graduate level, and thought that my track would be CPA forever. But a guy named Doug Sleater, who a lot of your listeners may know that name, discovered me and put me on the road and had me teaching accountants how to use this little box of product, a box product called QuickBooks they could get at Costco back in the day. And then Intuit caught their eye through that effort and became a contractor with Intuit on a 20-year contiguous contract cycle, developing training programs for accountants, both on the QuickBooks product and also on how to manage their practices. And then that led me to not only start my own conference, because back then Intuit didn't have one, but also to launch a coaching program so I could work with accountants throughout the year. It was about the year 2015 or 2016 where I completely untethered from doing the work and solely serviced those who do the work. But all the way up to about 10 years ago, I was still doing CAS work.
Okay. Before it was called CAS work.
Before it was called CAS.
Right. Before it was cool. Right?
Yes.
So
before it was cool.
All right. Yeah. And so so the first year of the event was what year?
We started in 2009, right in the middle of the Great Recession. So that was either brave or stupid. I think there's a fine line between the two.
Hey, I'll take luck.
We'll take brave.
Right. Yeah, we'll take brave. We'll call it brave. Brave people can call it what they want. So, all right. So let's dive in on Scaling New Heights. What is it? What is Scaling New Heights?
All right. So Scaling New Heights is an independent, comprehensive show that focuses on the whole of the accounting segment. And that means that we are Switzerland. If you, as long as your product or service addresses the accounting profession, you are allowed on our show floor. Nobody is told no for any other reason. Now, we did have a company this year that came in and wanted to do like massage machines or something. And we were like, well, that is kind of relevant, We could all use a
Right,
massage, but not, it's not accounting tech. So we're,
right.
or an accounting service. So they're not allowed on the show floor. That means everybody that you talk to is going to be relevant. And that's the first answer to your question. It's the nation's largest accounting technology showcase. So that's a reason to come. But that's only
Yeah,
one reason to come, exploring software.
yeah,
The go ahead.
and on that floor, I mean, like this year, what's the sponsor count, sponsor
It's
exhibitor count this year?
155.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
That is a
There's
lot.
a lot of technology that
Now, if
people
you keep
can.
up with shows and you want to fact check me on this, listeners, you might say, well, AICPA Engage has 180 or whatever booths. But our claim here is that we had the largest accounting technology showcase. Many more insurance companies and banking companies and fintech companies will engage at AICPA in Vegas in June.
Yeah,
Our concentration of tech is higher than theirs, so we're always kind of neck to neck with them. But that's the other thing about Scaling New Heights I want to mention, though. I have a lot of admiration for AICPA Engage. I'm there every year. It's a great show, and it has the letters CPA in it. It is designed for members of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Great for them. That's their membership base. It's a
yeah,
membership, it's an association event. We are a come all takers event. If you're not a CPA, then this is where you belong. If you are one, this is where you belong. If you're an enrolled agent, this is where you belong. As long as you service clients in the field of accounting or bookkeeping, this is your show. You belong here. And we're the only one that does that kind of play that I know of at this scale in the country. You know, if you're going into it Connect, it means you're a QuickBooks aficionado and you're not a zero person. The inverse is true if you go to ZeroCon. If you go to AICPA, you're probably a CPA, but you get the entire gambit of credentialed, non-credentialed, QuickBooks and Zero and Zoho and Accounting Suite and Sage, all of these advisors. It's the most diverse show in terms of skill set and software preference and credentialing that exist in the US at this scale.
yeah. And events like this are where a person can go and really do a side by side comparison. Maybe not, truly side by side, but find your two or three solutions in whatever it is that your problem is that you're trying to solve, and you can go and meet with a vendor for, with two or three vendors, competing vendors for whatever the problem is that you have in your firm. And that would, at least from my experience, from the however many years I've been to that event, if you've got technology in your practice, which everybody does, there'll be a vendor there that can help either solve it, replace it, or tell you how to use it better, right? And that's a big thing too, is we all have software, we all have tech stacks, and we all have software that we don't use nearly to its full potential. Go to an event like the Scaling New Heights and go to the booth and say, hey, how do I use this? I know I'm only using 10% of the power. How do I beef up to get 50%? Really start getting some value out of it.
Well, then
And
that kind of is a great segue to the breakouts. Can I talk about that at
yeah,
this point?
absolutely,
So,
yeah.
so there are two different kinds of breakout sessions at Scaling New Heights, and there are over 110 to choose from across 4 days. And we clearly delineate, and this is what differentiates our shows from other shows too. A lot of times, there's a blurred line. Am I going to something here that's a pay to play, that's led by somebody whose end game is to sell me a piece of software? Or am I going to a breakout that is purely educational and the only goal of the instructor is to transfer knowledge from their brain to my brain? And I've learned when you gray that out, it confuses the audience and it brings the expectation levels of all the breakouts down. So we clearly delineate any of our, we call them power breakfast sessions.
Yeah.
Any of our power breakfast sessions that take place before the morning main stage, they are sponsored sessions. Somebody has paid to lead them, and they aren't just going there to hard sell you. They educate, and then they also at some point in that connect their education to the fact that, by the way, our product helps you in this area in this way. So we have a very strong 60-70% of our attendees go to the power breakfast, and some of them do it, Gary, for the very reason that you mentioned. They go because they know they're using a fraction of a piece of software, and there standing in front of them is somebody who's lead on the product or lead on accounting success management or something that knows exactly how to maximize the use of this product, and they can go explore those features they know they're not using. But all that happens before the morning main stage each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
In the afternoons, we have breakouts. There are 90 to choose from. We have breakouts that are purely educational, and it's 90% practitioner led. The other 10% are respected thought leaders in the space, like Darren Root or Randy Johnston and others.
Yeah. Yeah. And those the power breakfasts are usually, I mean, sold out, I air quote sold out, but they're usually packed, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
they're packed.
because there's high value in there. And again, it's always good to remind people within the profession, if you're not looking at the stuff on a regular basis, the innovations come from the vendor side, come from the sponsor side.
They really do.
Sometimes it's because of the demand that the profession is saying, hey, we need this, but that's where the innovation happens. And because they've got the money, they've got the time,
The
they've got the
money is
staff. Yeah,
capital. Yes.
right. I mean, it
Need
takes
meets
time.
capital equals innovation.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah. And
And
so and so if you're trying to solve a problem and you don't have a research and development budget, small firms,
yeah,
congratulations, they do. And
right,
they can now subscription that out for you and you have basically infused R&D.
right. So talk about the theme.
Oh
You're a
yeah.
big Trekkie. So what is
I
the
am a big
theme?
Trekkie.
Yeah.
I used to be a closet Trekkie, but I came out of the closet a few years ago. Now I'm a proud Trekkie. And so, we've been giving a little bit of a nod to Star Trek. It's just a nod. So if you're not a Star Trek nerd, it's not like we're going to be walking around in Starfleet
Right.
uniforms
Live long and
and
prosper,
doing the live
wherever
long
that
and
is, right?
prosper. It's not a sci-fi show, but the host is a big sci-fi fan. So I'm giving a little nod to Star Trek in the last couple of themes. Last year's theme was Boldly Go, and right now we're in a time where boldness is required of the profession for us to move forward. So we addressed that last year. Michio Kaku came and talked. He's the famed theoretical physicist, basically a real life Sheldon Cooper. And he came to talk about the emergence of quantum computing, how it's going to affect the accounting profession, how it's going to intersect artificial intelligence, which is also affecting the accounting industry. All of that was last year. This year, the nod to Star Trek is a little more subtle, a deeper cut. Some of you non-Trekkies may not even know that the phrase "make it so" is a nod to Star Trek, but it's what one of the captains, Captain Picard, used to say every time they would embark on a new mission. And this is important to break down because it helps people to understand what I'm trying to accomplish here. Um, Star Trek's just a launching pad. It's not about Trek, but it's about leadership. The captain of the Starship Enterprise, Picard, he would meet with his team. He would hear all voices. They would construct a plan. The plan was data driven, which is another deep cut reference I won't
Yeah.
unpack right here. It was data driven. And then he would go back to the bridge around those same leaders with the entire crew behind him, and he would say, "Make it so." And then the ship would go off on their journey. So if you and that's the way you need to be leading your practices, even if your meetings with your leadership team are your own contemplations in your own mind because you're a sole practitioner, or even if you have a very small team, you need to have those phases of research, be prudent, be data driven, come up with a plan, execute the plan, right? And the execution of the plan is the make it so. And that means that you have to determine what your it is, right? That's a focus. And what the it is going to be incrementally. What's my it for this quarter, the next quarter, the next quarter? So I have a plan. And then the execution part is the so part, right? That's the realization of whatever the plan was you've created. If I were doing it physically, the so would be the painting, or the so would be the birdhouse that I built in my wood shop. What is the so that you're going to make or realize, or to put it in Covey's terms, what are you going to create? Because you're the creator, and the second habit is your creation, right? Which is a book on making it so. It's all the same principles. But unfortunately, Stephen Covey has passed,
Yeah.
but we did have his son at a previous conference. So we brought in David Allen, the famed author of the book getting things done. And he's going to talk to us about the methodologies of making things so. And we brought in Shantae Lowe, famed Olympian medalist, who medaled in the Olympics while going through chemotherapy. And she's going to inspire us to
Wow.
not create any excuses in making it so.
Wow. Okay. Any other keynotes? That was a great segue because that's where I was headed next
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
keynotes and
So, well, of course, the top 100 QuickBooks Pro Advisor awards
yep,
are always handed out from our main stage. So,
yep.
Gary, you'll be on the main stage this year as
I'll
well
be
with your
there.
team.
Yep. Looking forward
And
to it.
yeah, that's a tradition at Scaling New Heights, and we're honored that you have that connected to our event every year. So that'll be taking place. We have our top 50 CAS awards that we will be handing out on the main stage too. So those are the two award events. We have practitioners coming in greater numbers. We've heard from our audience. We want to hear from more of us on the main stage. So Brittany Brown, who is the founder of one of the most successful CAS practices in the country called Ledger Gurus out of Utah, Orem, Utah,
Okay.
she's going to be presenting on how she built her business. And if you're listening to this and you're a non-credentialed CAS provider, bookkeeper provider, services provider, she's one of you. You will be represented on our main stage. She's going to inspire you with her journey. And then we have folks like Val Steed, who was with K2 Enterprises and has coached thousands of firms in his career. A true veteran of our profession will be on the stage, as well as about 10 others. So I would encourage people to go to scalingnewheights.com and check it out. You can see the entire main stage lineup.
Yep. When is it? When is the event?
Yes, it's in June, and it's going to be June 22 through 25.
You're probably thinking of your mind's already in 26,
I
27,
am already in
28 out there.
26.
You're
Yes.
like, let's see, in June 26, we're
I
going
had
to
to
be
pause on the dates for a
right,
second because I could actually tell you the 2026 dates faster than the
right,
2025 dates at this point, because that's where I'm living. I'm reviewing creative this afternoon for the theme for Scaling 2026.
right,
I'm always
right.
about 14 months ahead.
We got to have it ready at the event at this year, right? For
Yeah,
next
we
year.
do.
Yeah. And so did you say location? I don't know if you did.
Yes, Orlando, Florida, at
Yep.
the largest Orlando World Conference Center, our conference center in the world, called the Orlando World Conference Center, rightly named.
Yep.
If you do have small kids and you want to kind of deal with kill a couple birds with a stone here, we are right across the interstate from the Disney parks, which gives you the ability to be in Disney Springs within a 5-minute Uber, or you can turn your back on Disney if that's not your thing and just enjoy a corporate environment. It's a great little spot to be.
Yeah, 'cause they have even their own little micro water park there
They do.
on
They have
site
an
too, right?
aquatic park that
Yep.
your children can enjoy while of course, you'd have to have a accountable adult for them, but if they're supervised, they can have, bring grandma or whatever. You can enjoy the show, and the kids will have a lot of fun right there on property.
Right. All right. Anything we haven't talked about? We
Yeah,
covered
we
the
haven't talked about the
tracks.
socials.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
You're hosting a social for your top
Yes.
100
Yep.
award winners, and so I
Yep.
want to, that's adjacent to us. You're doing that very much on your own, but
Hmm.
it's part of the conference experience if you're a top 100 Pro Advisor winner. And then we have a social for our members of our coach program that we host. If you are an enterprise-sized firm, if you're one of the top 200 to 300 largest firms in the world, or let's say you have revenue of over 10 million a year, we have a special social for you. If you're a member of our instructor writer coalition or want to be because you're an instructor or writer and just heard about it here for the first time, you can reach out to us and join that organization for free. The qualification is not money. The qualification is that you're an instructor or writer, and we'll interview you on that. That social is going to be taking place. And then we have a really cool social happening where if you don't want to be a fractional chief financial officer or fractional CFO, but you want to partner with one, then we have fractional CFOs that we're going to be lining up for a speed dating social. The only qualification
Hmm.
to get into that, there's no cost to participate, is that you can't be doing those services yourself and that you have to be seeking a partnership with one. The fractional CFOs also don't do what you do. Bookkeepers and outsourced controllers and back office process outsourcers, they don't want to do that work. So we're going to kind of marry some folks together. They'll send you some really high quality clients, bookkeepers and BPO people. And then your clients who are larger might benefit from their CFO services.
That's great. Now, I know last year you had something, you had like a track, I don't know if it was a whole track, but at least a session on EOS, on EOS.
Yes, we
Like,
have taught on the EOS product before.
yeah,
We're not going to be having sessions on EOS this
okay,
year because our own ideal practice model that you can explore at woodard.com has matured
yep,
out to the point
okay,
where it's you kind of choose one or the other. And ours
right,
is designed specifically for accountants. So we'll be
okay.
teaching our model, not the EOS model this year.
And what is that called?
It's called Woodard's Ideal Practice Model.
Okay,
Yeah,
Scott Woodard,
you can
trademark
just
TM.
yeah, there's a
Yeah,
TM on it actually,
yeah.
and so you can you discover that there's a prominent navigation for it on our website at woodard.com. Now, if you do
Okay.
woodward.com, I can't tell you where you're going to end up.
Right.
I'm not Woodward. I'm Woodard with one W.com.
There we go. All right. Anything that we missed
That's
or
pretty much the whole
yeah,
gambit of the show.
clock on the wall says it's 10:25 and I know you've got something at 10:30, so we will wrap it up here. Joe, I think you and I are scheduled for lunch sometime in the next month or so, lunch or
I'm
breakfast
looking
or
forward to
something.
it, Gary.
It's only
It's
been
long
like 3
overdue.
years trying to get it on the calendar. So, all right, man. We'll see you then and we'll see you in Orlando.
All right, take care.
Thanks. All right.